Good morning, 803. Well, the break is over and we are back to class. This is a quick tutorial on the Unit 4 exam that you took right before the break. We didn't do very well on this exam, but it's fundamental to passing the state exam. So I'm going to spend hopefully a little bit less than 15 minutes. Please go through every page. I did upload the exam with the key on it if you find this hard to read. Question number 1, real easy. Once again, I'm looking for the solution to a system of equations. The solution is where they intersect. I suppose the only tricky part is knowing that it's x followed by y, which is -1 and 3. The correct answer is B. So it's right here, -1, and y is 3, -1 and 3. Question number 2. Same problem, just looks a little trickier because they give you two equations. That said, it just says the population growth of two towns over a period of 5 years is represented by the system of equations below. Which ordered pair? An ordered pair, once again, is always x and y. So I can look and see that x is 4 and y is 10. So the correct answer is 4 and 10. If that had not been so easy to see, an alternative way of demonstrating this would be to set the two equations equal to each other. If you set the two equations equal to each other, you would find that x is 4, substitute 4 in the other equation, and you would find that y is 10. So either way will get you to the correct answer choice, 4 and 10, which is B. Question, let's see, this is number 3. What is the solution to the system of equations below? Right here. So it gives me a system of equations and it's lined it up, and I notice that I have the coefficient of 4 for y and the 4 for y for the second equation. One is positive and one is negative. So if I simply add them up, the 4's are going to cancel. So I'm using the elimination method. I'm going to give you just 1 minute to rewrite it. So I rewrite my equations. I notice that the coefficient is the same for the y. So if I add positive 4 to negative 4, it's going to turn to 0. So 3 plus 2 is 3x plus 2x is 5x plus 0. Here's where some of you might have gotten confused. -2 minus 8 is the same thing as -2 plus -8 or -10. So I'm left with 5x is equal to -10. 5x equals -10. Divide both sides by 5. X is equal to -2. In order to find my y, I substitute it into the first equation. So I take the -2, substitute it in for the x, multiply by 3, add 4y, -6 plus 4y equals -2. I'm going to add 6 to both sides. When I add 6 to -2, I get 4, and I get 4y equals 4. Y has to equal 1. My pair then is x equals -2, and y equals 1. Just make sure you can see that. And the correct answer is D. Okay, moving along. We are on to question 4. Can't see it. There you can. Once again, this is getting pretty boring. The graph of a system of linear equations is shown below. So where these things intersect is my solution. So once again, maybe this was tricky, but I'm counting by 2. So it goes up 2, 4, 6, 8. And then there's the negative side, -2, -4, -6, -8, -10. And I can see that my intersection point falls exactly between -2 and -4. So the number exactly between -2 and -4 happens to be -3. And this one falls exactly where y is equal to 2. So -3 and 2 is my point of intersection. And the correct answer choice is B. For number 5, I'm given another system of equations, and it's shown below my system. 5x plus 3y equals -6, 2x plus y equals -4. Now I can see that my coefficients are not the same, so I cannot easily substitute them in. So the one thing that I can do when I'm given a point and a series of choices is to simply take the point and substitute it into the equations to determine which one is true. So in my work right here, I will take the point -6 and 8, and I will substitute it into each equation. When I substitute point -6 in for the first equation, I can see that -6 times 5 is -30. -30 plus 24 is equal to -6. Does -6 equal -6? Why, yes, -6 equals -6. So I know at least for one, it's true in the first statement. So now I'm going to take the 8 and substitute it in to see on the second equation, substitute those 2 points in. So 2 times -6 plus 8, is that equal to -4? Why, yes, that's true too. So I know that the point is the only solution to both because it substitutes in and checks for both. So it is the only solution to both equations, and the correct answer was 8. That one took a little work, but it wasn't too hard. All the way up to number 6. Which statement explains why the point -2 is the solution to the system of equations? So they gave me the point, and of course I double check it. It is the solution. So then I have to go through my choices to see which is the best answer. So let's just go through each one and just say, it lies on the graph of only one. Well, that's not true because it lies on both of them. It lies on the second quadrant of the coordinate plane. Well, that's true. It does lie because remember our coordinates are 1, 2, 3, and 4. But that is probably not the best answer. So I'm just going to hold that one. I'm not going to cross it out yet. C says it is the only point that satisfied both equations simultaneous. Well, yes, that's true. And that's the best answer. Let me just double check D. It is one of the many points that satisfies. No, that's not true because there's only one point that satisfies both equations. The correct answer is C. Moving along to 7. We're halfway through. Don't give up. What is the solution to the systems of equations below? So I look and see, like, whoopee, the 3 and the 3 are going to cancel out. So once again, I'm just going to add these two things up. My 3's are going to cancel. I do this right over here. 2x plus 3y equals 6. X minus 3y equals 9. I add the two equations. 2x plus 1x is 3x plus 0. 6 plus 9 is 15. 3x equals 15. Divide both sides by 3. X is equal to 5. Now I have to take that 5 and substitute it back in here so I can find my y. 5 minus 3y equals 9. In this case, I am going to continue working through. I get rid of the 9 on this side. And I find that y equals -4/3. Now this one is tricky. I have to go over and look at my answer choices and see what I have here. Once I've found that my x is equal to 5, I can get rid of this one. I can get rid of this one. Oops, I can't see any of those. Sorry about that. Okay, so because I know that my x is 5, I'm just going to double check. Even though there's only one where my x is 5, I like to be extra sure. So here I have 5 is x and -4/3. This is the correct answer choice, and it's C. I looked at D, and neither one of those is correct. Okay, moving on to a graph of a system of equations below. Oh, this looks pretty messy. The graph of a system of equations is shown below, and I can see that I'm supposed to write the equations. So I see my graph, sorry about this, see my graph, and my job is to find the system of equations that is represented by the graph. So it's not, I'm not trying to find where they intersect. I have to find the two lines. So remember how we find the equation of a line is the first thing that we do is we start with the y-intercept. The second thing we do is to find the slope. And let's do this for the first line here, which I will put in heavy blue. And once you get one, you can do them all. And I'm going to call this L1. Line 1, L1. So it's easy to see that the point of intersection is at 10. And so I'm going to try to cheat for a second and see, look at my answer choices. They all start with positive 10, so that doesn't help me too much. So I'm definitely going to have to find the slope. Once I have established that the y-intercept is 10, I now have to find 2 points along that line that are going to be easy for me to find the slope, and I'm going to use the slope formula. So for this particular one, I am going to see that I have 0 and 10, which is the intersection point, and then I have another one right here, which is 4 and 2. I use my slope formula and say 10 minus 2 divided by 0 minus 4 is 8 over negative 4. The slope is negative 2. Hooray! So I can now write the equation for the first line. The slope-intercept form, the slope is negative 2x plus the y-intercept 10. Great. Now I look down and see if I have more than one choice. Actually, I can now get rid of 2 choices. I can get rid of C and D because they have the wrong equation. But I now have to find the slope for the second line. So let's go back and try to do that. The second line, and I'll do this one in lime green, and let's call this y2. First of all, the y-intercept is easy to find because it's right at origin. So I know that whatever the slope is, it's going to be plus 0, or actually there's not going to be anything there. So I just have to find the slope between those 2 points. And when I'm finding the slope for my lime line, my first point is 0, 0. That's the origin. My second point is any place that is a friendly point, or one that lies right on a line, and I can see my friendly point is 4 and negative 2. So I use my slope formula, and I find that 0 minus a negative 2 divided by 0 minus 4 is equal to, remember when I subtract a negative, I add a positive. So I have a positive 2 on the top. I have a negative 4 on the bottom. I can reduce that to negative 1/2. So my equation turns into y equals negative 1/2 x and plus 0, but there is no 0 there. So my correct answer choice in this case is B. Moving along, we are now up to question 9. Very straightforward. All I'm going to do is eliminate. And I can see 2x plus 4y, 2x plus 4y. Uh-oh. But I can see what happens when I subtract 2x from 2x. I get nothing. When I subtract 4y from 4y, I get nothing. So I can see very simply there is no solution for this system of equations. Sorry about correct answer choice is C. No solution. Number 10 is a little tricky, and I have 1 minute to explain it. If not, I'm going to carry on subject 2. Actually, I will stop. Please pick this up on the next video.